Greetings and welcome to Factorio. I'm Dgray, and today we continue our entry level to Megabase. Well, last episode we just got our advanced circuit set up a bit, and look at the bots go completely crazy trying to deliver enough resources to this place. When I'm looking at this, there's one thing I am noticing quite a lot, is that if you look on the right where it says delivery, we ain't really delivering enough plastic or copper as it is. So the 1k limit we set here is not going to be enough. So let's try and bump it up to 2k and see if that will be enough. The same with copper. Could probably do the same with the green circuits just because we'll need it. So that's going to fly in even more things, and hopefully that will make it buffer up. So for today's episode, I have a few things I want to get solved. One of them is pretty much getting productivity in these and adding blue belts. That means we'll have to do a bit of a setup for express transport belt production. So let's go and have a look at that while this slowly churns out advanced circuits at a rate that's still not fast enough, since our modules take an insane amount. But yeah, hopefully this will buffer up and produce what we need. So now to go and have a look at some place where we can set up some production with lubricant. So as we can see here, we have a nice transport line. We do have some lubricant right here. So we could pretty much just add these onto to the side and just request in the few items we need. So pretty much take our setup like this. I think we might have it in our blueprint book. Let's see here if we take this one. Pretty much say 1, 2, 3, 4 and remove that part. And then give it a bit of power. Let's just try that for now. Oh, I've put it down in the wrong place. Sorry about that. Let's just move it over one. There we are. And then we should be ready to produce at least some of the things we need. If we need more in the future, we can always move it a bit. There we are. Here comes the power. And we like to have express belts. We like to have undergrounds and have splitters. So now everything's going to get delivered in. They will start producing. They will, as I see here, add in just like that a few things. And then we should be good in terms of getting at least some belts running. Let's just request 100. 400 might be enough for this one. And request the rest here as well. Luckily we have a bit stored up over here, so it shouldn't take that long to get this up and running. Might limit how much we are consuming or how much we are buffering, since we probably don't need that many express belts at the moment. The same with these, since they are still somewhat expensive. So let's just do one stack of each of the undergrounds, and the rest we can do 4 lanes of, like we do with a lot of other things. So if we try and keep a few of these on us at all times, just give me 100. Same with splitters. 50 and undergrounds. That way we will have a bit to work with, and hopefully that will give us the speed we need to get our at right here all the way down the line when it's double beaconed. That would be the optimal situation. So right now, wow, copper still can't keep up. That's insane. So it might be used different places than just right here. Maybe over here it's grabbing for or grabbing the copper as well. But it does look like these are full, so we should be fine in that regard. So one thing I want to fix before we continue is our plastic setup. Maybe buffering a bit more than 100 in each of these might be good, just to have enough for the robots to grab. So if we just do that for now, just to buffer a bit more, just to be on the safe side for the future. Because right now the only thing I'm really focusing on is getting our advanced circuits running at full speed. And luckily we are quite close to that. And then we have most of our basic things up and running in our base. So let's just get this out of the way. Same with you. And let's just give this a bit of speed. Blue belts, express belt from here all the way up. Let's see if that will do the trick. Because you are producing quite a bit. Let's give you some productivity. And look at that, it's going all the way down. So luckily this will work and consume a bit less like this. Perfect. So now just to do the same on, probably don't need it out here, but to be consistent, let's just upgrade it with all the things we need. And the same right here, giving us pretty much all of these working non-stop. And look at the amount of resources going through here. That just looks insane. I love the look of that, to be honest. And productivity and productivity. Oh, it fit perfectly. So there we are. We have a nice little setup that gives us belts this all the way down. Oh, we might be in some trouble down here because of our beacons not reaching all the way. But that's just the way it is. Hopefully it will do enough to get it at least almost down to the end. If not, we'll have to move things around a bit. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the way it's performing right now. So if we look at our production tab, 1.3, only a small amount up from that, but it did give us a bit of production. We're consuming 1.2, maybe a bit more when it goes up. So that is good. Now we just need to get a lot more productivity and things up and running, since that is pretty much the bane, or what's called our main lack in the space at the moment. Is anything in terms of robots just getting stuck? It doesn't look like it, so things are actually running quite smooth. And I might want to just do a second column of these, so we can get things flowing. So what if we just do that? Let's see right here. Copy paste you to somewhere where you fit. It'll probably be, if you do it on top of this one, probably be the easiest way, just giving us a 50% increase. So right there. And that's gonna tax our system a small amount, because if we look at this production here, we do have a few. They're gonna go to my person, but other than that, it's not going fast enough still. So I'm guessing this will be a nice addition to what we need. I'll just kind of leave it. It will sort itself out and produce what we need, except the beacons, which we'll have to do a bit with ourselves. And we could just add the speed for now. Also give us a second buffer chest here, just to get even more items flowing in. Here comes most of the things we need. And here comes the belts in just a second, hopefully. And then this should start as well, giving us a bit more production and adding in the things we need. So what should we get set up this episode? One thing I'll need to set up is if we look at this one over here, it's at 77%. So we're pretty much at the point where we should probably craft ourselves a satellite. Right now I'm just gonna do it at our mall for the simple reason that in theory, if we want to hit our 4K science minutes, or when we hit a 4K science minute, we'll only need it to produce 4 every minute. And with a crafting speed of 5 seconds, we should be good just keeping it right here, stored up. Will, of course, or not of course, but I will limit it to maybe like 2 at a time. We'll have 1 here and then we'll have 1 in the machine. And that way we will have 2 stored up at all times, and I think that will be good. So satellite, let's give ourselves a small upgrade in terms of input. Might want to have 2 things, 2 items putting in, because look how much we need. So we could do something like this just for this one. And maybe give it... Don't think we need a faster one, so let's just keep it like this. So request and request. All the items we do have in our base, except our low density structures. Those are lacking a bit. So we might actually have to go and give that a small look. But at least that will give us the satellites, one of the last missing pieces of our base, at least to get the first thing up and running. We are seriously still way behind on advanced circuits. Insane how much we need. But one of the first things I want to get done is actually get worker robot speed researched, since that will give us 50 or 65% more speed on top of the speed we already have of 300. So that will give us a small amount, or about 20% increase in speed. That should be very, very good. Low density structures, let's just go and have a look. It should be just down here according to my map. And what's holding these back is pretty much just the speed of things. Because we are doing productivity, but we don't have any beacons touching them, to be honest. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. That will mean that we get some that's at least somewhat fast to produce the things we need. So there we are. That is as productivity they can be. Moving as fast, at least this one is moving as fast as it can. So yeah, we could add more, but I don't want to do that before we add more productivity. Could double it just by doing this. Oh, you are missing things, ain't you? Or aren't you? You are. So there's one simple way of fixing that. And that is yet another buffer chest. And let's just get some to our person. But the first one we can just craft by hand. Oh, it only stacked to 10. Let's give it a small amount more that can buffer. I think that could be good. So let's just see, buffer chest. You can just stay right here in the middle. I'd like for you to request pretty much everything this one needs, but please in a bit bigger bulk. That should help a bit in terms of getting things moved to the correct places a bit faster. And giving you, let's see if we do that now. That is a bit more. When you control click this one, it'll give it 30 seconds of production. Or shift right click, shift left click. That'll give us 37 production, 30 seconds. So that should be good if we do that. And then we have things stored up, and this should run a lot smoother now. because the travel distance is a lot slower. A lot slower? No, but a lot closer. So let's stay it like this. That will give us quite a bit more of this. That's going to be needed for yeah, many things around the base. So that is good. So plastic should be holding strong. Of course it isn't. And is that just a lack of resources? Or is it just a lack of how fast we can produce things? Guessing it's the... Let's see. We can't get barrels here fast enough. So let's do a little sneaky thing up here. Could do a buffer chest as well to get items in a bit faster. Or we can just activate the one just to the left of this. I think that could also be a good solution since we already have it beaconed. So let's just do this. Get this up and running. Pretty much doubling our production of plastic. But yeah, we will need a buffer chest here to get it here a bit faster. So let's just buffer that, please, to help ourselves out a bit in the future. Because as I'm kind of figuring out, and something I knew to a certain degree, is that buffer chests are extremely important in a robot base. Because without these, it's pretty much never going to work. That is at least one of the things I'm starting to notice. So that should probably increase a bit more of what we need before we start to go into 1.9k. And it still can't keep up with demand. Hopefully it will as soon as things level out. But these modules does take an insane amount. It is just rather silly even. Because if you look at the production, 5 per minute. Oh, 27 per minute, that's actually not bad. So that should mean we'll get them up and running very... Oh, it's because I'm looking at the wrong one. Yeah, 5 per minute. That will, yeah, give us... 5 minutes, actually not that bad. It's quite good. So that is that. Let's get ready to see how close are we to a rocket launch. We are at 92%. So I'm guessing, or I'm quite sure, that we'll get a rocket launch this episode, which is actually quite fun. It's only going to be our, what is it, a third satellite in space. And let's see how it goes in terms of production up here. There goes the first one. That's gonna get delivered by robots to our little satellite area. And then we should probably just turn on automatic launch. Just to get the science flowing in. I'm still a bit hesitant to turn on this because I'm not quite sure how our base will handle it, mostly since we can't even produce enough advanced circuits yet. So yeah, we will have to give it a little while before I go completely ham with the science. So we do have a satellite down here, ready to get put in as soon as we produce enough of these. Could add what's called more productivity to all of this, but that is a bit into the future, if I must say so myself. Yeah, this is going fast enough for my liking. We're not really buffering anything. We're just waiting for our low density structures to get produced. And that is starting to work at a nice pace because this should all be working without any issue. So one time we will have it all beaconed and everything be good. Should we just auto launch it? or should we just watch the first one from our Megabase getting launched? Then it'll be fun to see how fast it is. While we wait, we might as well get a bit more of this up and running. Get in some landfill to save our robots that gets stuck in the middle of nowhere. Or let's just do what we normally do. Mark out the area we want with room for solar. So there we are. Let's go down to the next one. Right, here seems good. And should we put in a few more up here? I can already see that I probably missed a bit in terms of making room for our radar. And the same down here. And then we're looking somewhat good. Yeah, that should get filled in if we have enough within range. Yeah, that should be somewhat close enough for what we need. And the rest will just get put in a little while. There we are. And let's continue out this way as well. Because we need to get this entire lake filled with things. Because we do need to cross this at some point to get to the other side. Because we do have a bit of oil, we do have a bit of coal and other things over here that could be quite nice to get. And with the robots taking the long trip over the water, then it is quite necessary for them to get this super highway, as I'm gonna call it. So let's just do this as well. A few more down here. Please out this way, so we can get things explored. That's the wrong one I'm using. Of course, I want to use solar, since I do want our base to continue to expand the power without us running into the issue that we have to do it when we are out of power in the future. So there we go. That is probably looking quite good. Let's hook this little thing up right here to connect our networks. And here we are. That should make it a bit easier for them to cross this little area. So probably get some in here as well. It's huge that we have no robot coverage, which actually is quite fun since how close it is to our base. And let's get these just to make it look the parts. You can go away. And that's going to cover these. That's going to cover the rest of that. This looks quite horrible as well. So let's just beautify the base a small amount. Could actually just get the rest of this land filled in to have a nice grid we can use in the future. So there we are. Things are requiring quite a bit of power right now, but that was to be expected with how much I requested. So that is quite important that we increase this. But the base will still continue even though it runs out of power. It'll just need a few seconds to catch up again when the day comes. So that is good enough for me. So here is our first rocket. Let's just get it to auto launch him, since I want it to buffer up here. Let's buffer, let's just say 1 row. Or we can just get it to fire at all times, just buffering up as much, even though I know it just be put out this way. So let's send up a rocket. I think that would be quite cool. So also launch with cargo. And then we should get 1,000 more science out. So that means that our little setup here, if not a bit slow as it is right now, will be a lot faster in the future. But as it is right now, it will actually produce a rocket. Here comes the space science out. Can be added to these in the future. But yeah, that is actually not that bad. Now we just need to sort out the power. And then we should be quite good in terms of getting things running. But it is still our productivity modules or speed modules that is the main reason why we have no resources at all. Or at all, we are producing 2k a minute. But that's nowhere enough for what we need in the future. So increasing production, increasing it with the productivity is pretty much the main goal right now. Could think about activating the one we deactivated down here, but I don't think that is the best solution. Even right now the robots are getting stuck right here. So that means that we should probably just add a small amount of roboports to clear up this area. Then hopefully this can start to run again, because this is quite a high demand area. Even with 2 chests, we can't keep up. So yeah, that is quite insane, to be honest. So the 4K Megabase is slowly coming alive. We are building a lot of things, but we still have a long journey ahead of us, which I'm very much looking forward to. Let's give this one a bit of robots as well. So as I was saying, we'll pretty much just have to beacon things, since that is the main reason why it takes so long for things to do. And we have 15 robots in the air, probably charging all over the place, as that is what's going on, and moving things back and forth to build these. That is pretty much... Oh, that is an issue. They can't go over where they need to be. So they're pretty much just going back and forth. Hopefully they can make it on the second trip. Seems so. So it's only the first time we are running into a bit of issue when they start from here. But that is the annoying part about lakes, is that yeah, they are a bit tough for robots to cross. So let's just add in, I think it should be somewhere around here. That, I know it's going to cost us a bit of robots, a bit of production, but it is most definitely necessary to get this sorted as fast as possible. What are these doing? Just out in the middle of nowhere trying to figure out where to go. Oh well, that's the way it is at the moment. So let's just put in what we need out here for it to expand across the lake. And that should be a lot of it right here. So there we are. Things are slowly getting fixed. So I think this is a somewhat good place to stop. We will lose power yet again, but that's just because we are using so much of our base to do so many things, and yeah, it can't really handle that. So let's end it here on a power issue, and hopefully next episode we can probably spend a bit of time setting up a network that can actually handle all the things that's going on in the base at the moment, since that is our main issue at the moment. Could mean that we should stop some of the productivity and speed modules, but they are also filling up at a quite nice rate. Should only take an episode for 100 or even 150. So that is actually not that bad. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I've been Dgray, and hopefully you'll still give me a like and a subscribe. I'm still enjoying this. It is turning into a lot bigger project than I had expected. But yeah, I am looking forward to the real challenge that's gonna start as soon as we have all the basic building blocks done for our base. So with that, thank you so much for watching, guys. I've been Dgray, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.